Good morning. Welcome. So this is Wednesday, the 8th of July 2026, and we're just running into the European session, so the London Open. I'm just going to go through my charts as I normally do, just my usual regular morning routine. So we'll start, so I clear off all the OPRs from previously, so that we can start again. Clean slate every day with the charts. We had some what appeared to be big news on the Kiwi overnight, so it did do some sweeping moves, which were felt across some of the pairs, so you'll see that as we have a look. Okay, so pound New Zealand is still a bearish. Let's have a look. Sorry, bullish. I'm talking about. Okay, let's have a look at the OPRs. We've got bullish, we've got 73%. So not as bullish as they were on the relative OPRs. But within our, we've got a channel here, so let's start on the 4 hour. We've got our channel from that order block right here. We've now just created a new low, so I did have my channel there, but in fact it's a parallel channel, isn't it? So let's get rid of those and we'll start again with the drawing. Parallel channel, and there. Okay, so now is a good time to buy if it's bullish, which it is. But our OPRs are still 73, but I would caution against that because we've got the strong 4 hour level here. Let's just see if we can find the previous instance of it. I think it was just a spike in the middle of nowhere. Oh no, it wasn't. Okay, so that's our previous point of interest on the 4 hour, and so we're just coming up to it, and we just had a big red candle, so I wouldn't place a buy order on that pair right now. Pound yen is our next one, but we're still in the right bucket because we've had the OPRs on our side and the relative OPRs. Pound yen is not quite so strong on the OPRs. It's a really nice looking chart, that, to me. Let's have a look at the numbers. Pound yen plus 51. Okay, so we're just still in that holding phase, but we do have a nice pattern there on the 4 hour. If that stays the same or just slightly increases, we need to keep our eye on that. We could place a buy order on that with our target at, that's quite a long target in the blue line. Okay, so it's not traded this high in a long time, as we can see. So we would be looking for a place, a target, which would be horizontal line, probably this one. Which would be fair and square, I think. Good target. So let's see what that one does. So as you can see, we've had a bit of a squeeze play up to this area, and it's now closed above, and then it printed us a kind of an Acapulco type scenario, but with a trendy kangaroo tail on the 4 hour. So I do like that. So we'll see where it goes, but it will come up with some resistance here, obviously, so maybe we clear that first. Yeah, I think maybe we clear that first, and then we shoot for at least 2R on that one. Okay, pound yen. I'm just going to cross these first. Pound CAD. Let's have a look at you, pound CAD. I do like to trade the pound CAD actually. I believe. Let's have a look where we are in our relative OPRs. 66. So, I don't know. I think it will possibly come down and wick into this area here to collect the liquidity, and then I think it will be off to the races up to there. So we'll wait for it to come down to there. I always put my arrows in blue if it's just a suggestion, and green if it worked out and I want to keep it. Okay, so pound CAD, pound Swiss. Here we are. So previously we've not had the OPR matching the relative OPR and the moving average. So we'll see what we've got today. Pound Swiss, bearish, neutral, and plus 70. So we've still got the same scenario. We could decide to just trade with the relative OPR and the moving average, but I'm not going to do that. It's a risk I wouldn't want to take on that one. Pound Swiss, Euro pound. Now let's have a look at our Euro pound. So what happened here? Let's have a look on our OPRs. Neutral, bearish, minus 96. So our relative OPRs are pretty consistent. However, I lost this trade in the night, and you might be thinking, well, why did you lose your trade, Emma? Well, I lost it because of the spread on the Asian session open last night. I've contacted my broker because I didn't think it was fair that here, on that candle, this candle, the spread was so wide that it took out my stop loss. Now, as you can see, price on the chart, never even touched my, never went anywhere near it. So I've put in a question to my broker and the prop firm to say, whoa, look, please check it out. So that's the Euro pound, Euro yen. Don't mind losing. I don't mind losing, but I don't like to be unnecessarily stopped out on the just for a technical error. Okay, so Euro yen. Where are we? Bullish, neutral, minus 9.5. Okay, so unfortunately we don't have bullish relative OPRs for this pair, because that would be a good trade. So right there on the moving average, we've got the Gator bands. So we've got the Gator signal, although it didn't deeply retrace there, but we do have the Gator signal, and we've now got a little Kangaroo Tail on the 4 hour, which could indicate that that is going up there. In fact, I'll put a notional on one of these, but we don't have potentially 1.59 risk to reward, but we don't have relative OPR, so I wouldn't necessarily trade that, but may very well work out as a good trade. We shall see. Euro New Zealand. Here we are. Not as strong on the OPRs as it has been, but let's see where we are on the relative OPRs. plus 25. So no, that has dropped, hasn't it? But you can perhaps see why, because it is a slightly lagging indicator. Now, this one, I've drawn a trend line here. I've noted that I don't have the moving average on the 1 hour, meaning that I probably wouldn't take that trade until it touched that. But by the looks of things, if you take a look at it, it may just reject this area here, and if it rejects our trend line somewhere down here, maybe even gives us another wicky candle somewhere here, then we could buy it in this area and go all the way up to their minimum. Okay, Euro, Kiwi, Euro, Swiss, next off the blocks. Here, so we don't expect, so the OPRs didn't match up to the other two indicators. Let's just see where we are now with that. Plus 23, so no, and we're getting worse on the relative OPRs. However, again, actually no, scratch that, sorry. I mean, it would be a buy trade potentially, because it just rejected this, but it's potentially going to go up there. But I wouldn't do it because the OPRs are not on our side, and so I wouldn't do it. Okay, Euro Swiss, USD CAD. Here we have the USD CAD. Okay, we can see we're still in our little box. Let's have a look at the relative OPRs, plus 65. Potentially down here would be a good place to sell if we get a bit of a wick. Buy. If we get a bit of a wick there. Go at least for the top of the box. Potentially to this area here. But we do need it to break this, and at the moment it's not looking like it wants to. So we shall see on that one. CAD Swiss. Okay, let me just check the moving average. So, whereas the CAD Swiss is actually a cross of the moving average, so that can go up there because this is an A cross. Let's have a look at the relative OPRs on the CAD Swiss. Bearish minus 55, so it's less bearish. Well, that would fit with the price, wouldn't it? Price pattern. Because we've got this. The Gator bands are opening up. That was our Gator entry there. But it wasn't a great one, but it got a good retracement. Picked up some liquidity here, and now we have crossed the moving average. It is looking like it will go and collect some more liquidity up here, and then perhaps fall, but we'll have to hold them for that one. CAD Swiss, Aussie New Zealand. Okay, so here is, again, we had news on the New Zealand dollar, as I think I've already mentioned, and that was a losing trade here. But we've just now hit our trend line again. Sorry, let's have a look. When I'm not doing the analysis, I have my screen out in full, so let's have a look what's going on. Yeah. I'm going to move some of these because these are no longer in play. In fact, let's delete them. Clean chart. Right, so we probably need to move our 4-hour point of interest. now. Huh, interesting. Yeah. Let's just double check that. So yeah, I think we're coming up to a point of interest. So potentially what we might see here, although we might see a wiki candle down to there and then a push back up to there, which would be our target off that one. But so that would look something like a long comme ça, which would be a better reward to risk than we had before. So that would be 2.54, that was 2.4. But we would need some more confirmation of that and some more price action to show us that that's what it intends to do, if that's what it intends to do. Okay, so that's the Aussie New Zealand. Actually, let's put these in their buckets where they belong. So that one goes to yep, here, and that one. So look where the moving average is. It's right across the moving average. Look at that. So what we did before, so I looked at that moving average and took the trade here. It was slightly late, but this was the Asian session, and I did think, given the strength of those candles, that it would go all the way to there, but it didn't, and now it's come down to retest this, potentially pick up some liquidity there. But it is quite a strong move down, so potentially we might end up here. So we shall see. We shall see on that one. Okay. Aussie Swiss. Do we still have the moving average cross? Yes, we do. But we're in the bottom edge of this box here, as you can see. Perhaps you could argue that it's maybe, I don't know. Anyway, we've come up to the 4-hour point of resistance. We might just be printing a U-turn. Let's have a look at the relative OPRs. And the Aussie Swiss. That's 55. I've had some very good trades in ranges on the Aussie Swiss before. Previously. But I wouldn't take that as too close to the bottom of this box, and we're not really sure about where the box is anyway, so we shall leave that one for now. Aussie Swiss, Aussie Singapore. Here we are for the Aussie Singapore. So we're expecting this to be a way away from the moving average. Oh, it's coming up to the moving average. Interesting. Now this trade, which was a notional trade, because I put on there I didn't have the MA1, so I didn't have the moving average on the 1 hour in my favour, but it succeeded. So the trade went to its target and immediately it snapped back. So it's coming back up by the looks of things to this particular line just there. That point of interest, which aligns with the order block. So maybe we'll get a touch of this, although we didn't just there, look. We got our clean trend lines. So again, it's a confirmation thing. We need to see what goes on with that one. Let's just have a look at the numbers. Aussie Swiss +3, so it doesn't align. Okay, so we're going to move that box. Interesting. So it's gone bullish on the relative OPRs. So now we've got relative OPR. No, we haven't. relative OPR. We don't. We got the moving average and the OPR. Okay, I will move that one later. Aussie Singapore, USD Singapore. Plus 58, so we're expecting that one to be sorry, 1 second. Sorry, I'm just thinking here. USD Singapore is very bearish on the actual OPR, so let's have a look on the relative OPRs for plus 58. Nah, no good. So bullish on the bullish side with the relative OPRs, and it's not making its mind up. You could argue that's a type of a wedge going on there. Oops. Like that. But we don't know yet. We don't have enough information. Okay. And now we've got the Swissy. Swissy. Where are you, Swissy? Here we go. Plus 33. So again, we don't have the things are not aligning. We've got bullish on the relative OPRs. We've got bearish on the actual OPRs, and we've got, what would you say, potentially a bearish chart if it gets back down into this area here. Potentially we look for a sell, but we don't have the MA on our side either. So look at the MA on the 1 hour. Yeah, MA cross. That's a good 1 hour signal if you didn't know this. Because that is, like, let's draw it out and you can see. So that would be a Gator trade, probably to go down to there-ish, 1.58 risk to reward. A Gator trade, but we don't have our relative OPRs to match, so I'm just going to put a note on that. I didn't take that. No relative OPR. And we'll see how that pans out. I just do that just to check, just to see how things go. So now we want the yen, which is here. Let's go back to the 4 hour because we always check our charts on the 4 hour. Sorry, yen 4 hour. Yeah, got that pattern emerging like the euro yen. Right, let's have a look at our relative OPRs. Plus 75. Not as bullish, but still very bullish, quite bullish. Sorry. It's a good pattern. We had a Gator entry there, actually there and there, but we didn't have the retrace. It came from up there, so that wasn't as good really. But it looks like we might be getting some kind of bit of a trendy kangaroo tail formation. I can't speak. So that's, yeah, wouldn't trade that. Okay, the yen. What do we have after the yen? The Swiss yen. Swiss yen. Hoo-hoo. Now then, interesting. Swiss yen, we've got 26, so we're getting back into bullish relative OPRs, bullish relative OPRs, and we've got our potential on an MA cross, and we've got a Gator set up, although the green moving average isn't on the top, which we would like. But overall, that is quite a bullish setup. Let's just have a look at the MA on the 1. Yeah, it's just left the gate, hasn't it? You can see that. Potentially, I couldn't take a 1 hour trade on that because look, you got this as a point of it, although potentially it may, yeah. Well, let's draw it out. Tough one, because really the trade should have been, we're a bit late off the block, should have been about there really. Take us up to there. But maybe if it retraces, we could wait for that. Like that. Okay, Swiss yen. We got the, the Kiwi. I've been thinking of a trade on the Kiwi. So this failed, but I didn't take it because I didn't have the moving average on my side on the 1 hour. Let's have a look on the 4 hour, and I still don't. Look at that. It's even more bullish. What's happening on the 4 hour is we do have that, but let's have a look at the OPRs, relative OPRs, minus 49, so it's less bearish. What do we think's going to happen? Given price action at the moment, you could argue that it will go up there, it will create a wiki candle, and then it will fall. But we don't know. We will wait to see that as it progresses. It may just stop and turn around here. Let's have a look at the 1 hour. Yeah, potentially here. This is a liquidity pool on the 1 hour. So we could watch our numbers, see what happens. I didn't take that trade, I didn't have the MA, I just thought, so we'll get rid of that actually. It was a loser, but we didn't take it for a reason, and a good reason too. Okay, there we go. So that's the Kiwi. And then the New Zealand Swissy. Okay, so what do we have here? Okay, we've got a moving average cross on the, or touch on the 4 hour. Let's have a look at our relative OPRs on the New Zealand Swiss, minus 46. Minus 46. What do we think? To price action. Well, it didn't respect our little trend line that we got going on there, which we got, do you remember? To the 4 hour point of interest. And in fact, I thought it might come down and sweep that liquidity pool. It didn't. We got that New Zealand news overnight. And we're back into bullish kind of territory. But we don't have much to support that, because we don't have bullish OPRs and we don't have bullish relative OPRs. Like potential cross, although it's potentially just going to reject this. Use the moving average as support and dynamic support and resistance and just reject it. I don't think it's going to do that, because these are really strong candles. So I think it will go to there or up to there, but we shall see. New Zealand Swiss, is that all we have for today on there? Yes. Okay, and then what I do is I just move my, so let's have a look at gold and silver. Minus 12 and minus 18. Let's see what they, so they're bearish on the OPRs and they are bearish on the relative OPRs. So gold is minus 12. So less bearish, turn into possibly bullish, but then according to our channel, it potentially is going to be bullish. Get rid of that arrow, it's confusing. So yeah, we'll wait and see what that one does. And then we've got silver, less bullish, minus 18. Oops, lazy. Silver. And what's the price action telling us, folks? It is telling us not a lot at the moment. It's just kind of fallen out of our box, which was perhaps confirmed a couple of times there and there, but it's fallen out. It's slightly bullish pattern, but it needs to really show us what it's going to do, so we wouldn't trade that one. Okay, let's have a look for some others. Pound Singapore. So we don't have OPRs on this little lot. So this should technically be in this box from Harmony Technologies email. Pound Singapore, 59, no change. No change. So again, we need to see what it's going to do here. Probably might come up and do another double touch. We don't know. We don't know. That's very much of an unknown. New Zealand yen, minus 42. So the relative OPR is staying within a certain range. The MA is shown as it's bearish, but we're just about to touch it. So potentially we come sweep that liquidity and then fall. Because we do have quite a bit of liquidity here. Let's move that. That was a notional trade. Yeah, potentially we'll sweep it and then come down. So that's New Zealand yen. New Zealand CAD isn't on our radar at the moment. Aussie yen. Aussie yen neutral, -6. Interesting. So we didn't have the OPRs aligning, and in fact the relative OPRs are the opposite of our trade, and so is the moving average, but our trade's succeeding on these in about 1.2 our profit, but I wouldn't have taken it, just saying. I wouldn't have taken it because it didn't have all the stars aligning on it. Okay, Euro Aussie, what do we got? Euro Aussie -22, so no change on the relative OPR. I do like this pair, but look at that. Don't have so it should be below the moving average if we want to go bearish on it, and it isn't. So yeah, unfortunately. Now what could be happening is we could be seeing that potentially. Let's just have a look. Take it down to here. That's more likely, actually, the outcome. So what we could see is, I'm going to move that. We could see this wick, possibly wick into that area there. Giving this chance to catch up, the price chance to catch the liquidity, and then fall. And we would take a trade somewhere, perhaps somewhere here. Once it's confirmed it's rejected that point of interest. So we'll watch price action. I mean, you could take the trade up there, but it's risky because it would be coming up against that 4-hour point of interest. I wouldn't necessarily do that, but anyway, that's a potential. And also, obviously, we would want that to be slightly stronger, more -40 or above. Oh, sorry, below. Okay, Aussie. Aussie is -44. Right, so what happened here was it was getting back into my box and it produced a strongish candle, and I thought, well, you know, maybe you could argue there's a trade there, but it's just hovering around the break even at the moment. I wouldn't have taken it because no moving average on the 4 hour. Here we are, ding ding ding, it's showing us bearish on the moving average 4 hour, but it's in the box. And the relative OPR was sliding bullish at that point, so it was as in less bearish, which it kind of is still doing, but it's a dodgy one, that, and it's just going to fumble about there for a while, I think. Okay, CAD yen. CAD yen is minus 18. Ooh. Minus 18. Okay, so we don't have any OPRs, and we haven't had all this time, and that's just failed again. So 2 notional trades, didn't take either of them. But they were aligning with the moving average, which is why I sort of thought, maybe. But with this one here, we just had a really strong bearish candle. That was a Gator trade, and it sort of did the dance, but then it failed. But like I said, we wouldn't have taken that. I wouldn't have taken that, sorry, because it didn't align with any of the indicators or the numbers that I would tend to rely on. Anyway, that's the CAD yen. Euro Singapore, minus 83. Okay, so it's getting more bearish. Now you do have a trade on that, funnily enough. Let's just map it out. Because it's broken its trend line, it's come back to retouch. So potentially your trade would be, even perhaps down to there. Let's just have a look at what's happening on this. Yeah. Actually, here. To align with that. This. Yeah. That would be super safe, really. So we'll see how that one pans out. But we don't have the OPRs, so what I mean by that is Euro Singapore is neutral, 37%. It's getting there, But so we're just going to tag the reason we don't actually take this trade. No OPR, but we can watch it. We can see how it does. How would we mark that trade? We would say it's a okay. That is a trade we wouldn't take at the moment because we don't have the OPRs. Okay, pound. Hoo-hoo. Pound USD. Neutral, plus 21. So it's bullish, not bullish enough on the relative OPRs. Price action. What's price action doing? Let's have a look. So it's flirting with our moving average 200, which is here. It's messy. It's messy, isn't it? No, I wouldn't do anything with that. This was a nice move up to the point of interest on the 4 hour, but no. No. I can't think of anything that trade's really doing. It is a bounce off this trend line, if you like, but not a good enough one. So we wouldn't take that trade. Aussie CAD. Ooh, no then. Let's have a look. Aussie CAD. Neutral, minus 55. So that's a notional trade. It's crossing the moving average, and it's also crossing the midpoint of our box. And what we might find with this is that it turns into a bullish wicky candle and then carries on going up there. So I'm going to leave our notional trade on because it is still in profit, don't forget. But that's a look, but it's 9:11, so it's actually not, for the time of day, 9:11 in the UK, it could just form a bullish candle. I know it doesn't look bullish at the moment, but that is what it may well do. Okay, pound Aussie. Pound Aussie, where are you? Neutral, plus 24. So we've got bullish relative open position ratios. Here we go. Ooh, okay, interesting. Bullish open position ratio. Let's have a look. Pound Aussie 24. So it's been wavering, look. -5, plus 24. I mean, I do like it, but it has to clear this area here and definitively show us that it's going to reject this 4-hour point of interest, because it's a good one. It's a good one because it's not traded here since way up there. So that would be our target. But we need some more confirmation on that first. Euro CAD is in our little box. What's it doing on the numbers? Neutral, plus 5.9. Again, it's toying with the idea of doing something, isn't it? But it's not actually doing anything. So possibly might come down and touch our moving average, or it may come down and collect some liquidity here at the bottom of the box. We don't know. We shall wait and see. Let's just have a look. Sorry, Euro CAD. It's neutral. It's 36. So it's, yeah, it's tipping over into non-neutral territory, but not quite as much as we need it to. We could draw a trend line. Like that. I do tend to draw them from the most recent order block on the 4-hour, but that one is a strong one, isn't it? So what it might do, this could be a double top. If it clears this area here, it might tip all the way down to there. So that would be a good sell trade, but we would need the numbers in our favour. We don't currently have them. Euro USD is -47. It is neutral in the most neutral sense of the word on the OPRs, and it is bearish on the relative OPRs. Again, a notional trade. I didn't take it. I took it because the situation with this trend line, but sorry, I didn't take it. I marked it because of the point on the trend line, and we're actually getting some Gator signals on that. You can see here, that was a Gator signal for a sell on the euro. But at the moment, for me to take that trade, it would need to tip into bearish on the OPRs, and it would probably need to clear that trend line for me to actually take that trade. Okay, we'll just have a quick look at XRP. Falling quite like that to close above our moving average for a little while. It's toying with the idea, but not toying enough. So potentially come and collect some liquidity, and then we might be off back up there. But anyway, that's all we have today. So I wouldn't take any of those trades, but there were a few that I would just check what's going on this session, which were the pound yen. Yes. Oh, okay. Pound yen is showing some strength there. What's happening on the 1 hour? Yeah, we just had a Gator, and we had a Gator, and we had a pseudo Trendy Kangaroo Tail. But I did say, you see, that's only 1.13. But I did say, let's see what it does up here, didn't I? Pity, because you could have actually, yeah, you may have got 1.22 out of that, but, well, we can look at that later, but we were just entering that too late. So we'll put on there, too late. Okay, that's all for now, folks. We've just got an alert on the Euro Aussie. So, remember we said it may come collect some liquidity up here, possibly there. Well, maybe it's doing that, but we'll see. We still don't have the moving average on the 4 hour, so we wouldn't be able to take that trade until it came down a little bit further. But Aussie Kiwi, okay, touched our 4 hour. So again, is it going to fall, collect liquidity? We shall see. There you go, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Any questions or comments, you can leave me a message. And if I can help you in any way, I will. Thank you. Take care. Wish you happy trading. Bye.